Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I am 35 weeks pregnant already, and I was just going to do a quick update and a bit of a catch up because I ended up going to hospital for a growth scan last week after my midwife appointment, so I was going to talk a little bit about that. And I've picked up a few bits from Next that I mentioned in my previous video, so I'm going to show you a little mini haul and some products that I've been really loving using this week. So I hope you enjoy. So first off, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the baby and her development. So this week my app says that she is the size or weight of a honeydew melon. I'm getting very confused now because I swear, like, one week it'll say the size of and then the next week it'll say the weight of. So it gets a bit confusing. I don't know whether that's just me, maybe I'm just easily confused. But I preferred a few weeks ago when she was the size of a pineapple. Or the size of a pineapple. So she's the weight of a honeydew melon, apparently. But I actually know the exact weight, or that she was a few days ago, so I'll tell you a little bit about that soon. At this stage, I think babies start practicing breathing. Obviously they're not breathing fully, but they're starting to practice to be able to breathe. So taking like practice breaths. I know that she is still Breech, or I'm assuming that she still is Breech. She has been this whole time. Last video I said if she hadn't turned around, then I'd be amazed. So I was not amazed, I was quite disappointed actually to find out that she still was Breech. But a little bit more about that later, and hopefully she'll turn by my next midwife appointment next week, and that's when they start to actually talk about these things, so it's fine at the moment, but fingers crossed she turns in this next week. So symptoms wise this week, just the usual tiredness and things, just the stereotypical stuff. I've definitely been more breathless, but that probably has a lot to do with her being sat so high. Obviously because she's in breech position and she's in complete breech, so that means that her back and her head are like at the top. Definitely struggling to breathe, which I would consider as a necessity to most people's lives. So it's a bit irritating. And I think sometimes when you're like breathless and you're struggling for air, it can also make you feel a bit more tired because you permanently feel a little bit exhausted. The weather hasn't been the best, so we've been spending less time outside and things, which I think makes things a lot easier when you can just be outside with the toddler, because at least then they've got like a natural interest to like run around the park or just run around the garden, whatever. And I definitely feel like I want to be busier and I keep things going, I'm like happier, and when the sun's out, I swear I suffer from seasonal depression. I need to live somewhere else during the winter at least. Like, I need to go live in Australia for half the year, and then maybe I'd just be happy all year round. My only other real like sort of symptoms this week, I think I've pulled a muscle across the top of my uterus, and that seems to be just from twisting. It can be the smallest movement that just sets things off. So I think I've literally turned behind the car seat to get my bag and lifted it, and I've pulled it. So that kind of hurts every time I twist or bend down to lift anything up. But it's bearable, you know, I can live with it. I haven't had any more like nasty headaches or anything this week, so I'm happy about that. My sleep's been okay, so really I cannot complain. So just a quick bit about my appointment last week, because other people may also go through this, and I find that they use a lot of abbreviations that can be really confusing, and they never really explain themselves, which I think is terrible. Like, we're not all medically trained midwives or nurses, so explain to us what is going on. So I just thought I'd go quickly through the process that I've been through, just in case anyone else goes through it, just to know that you should remain calm and it's all totally fine. So basically, I've only had 2 growth measurements of my actual bump. This is where they take the tape measure and they measure from the top of your like pelvic bone, which obviously they're guessing anyway, where that is, and they measure it to the top of the uterus, and they do it in the UK anyway in centimetres. And then they have a growth chart that's already been sort of computer made, generated, that has your weight at your booking appointment, so when you were first booked in, and your height, and they create a custom made graph, and on this graph it has centile lines. You have your upper centile line, your average, and your lower. And the idea is that when you hit a certain stage, it's like 26 or 28 weeks, the midwife is meant to start measuring your bump, and they plot it along the line. And because obviously I've just transferred from Scotland down to the UK, they only started doing this at my, not last, but the one before appointment. And I was fairly certain that she'd taken a wrong measurement because she plotted me at the top centile. And everyone comments like, God, you're so small, and these comments don't normally bother me at all. But I was thinking, I don't think that's right. And then I measured and I had a few centimetres lower. So I thought, So this time round, obviously she's gone back to plot me on the graph again. And she was like, oh, you've completely fallen off your growth chart, which is not what they want. They want to see a line that slowly naturally follows like a slow growth line, basically, a nice curve, upwards curve. And of course I'd gone from being in this top 5% to the below 5%, so like below average, above average to below average. So they don't want to see the growth of the baby go downwards, obviously. So of course I was like, I think it's dodgy measurements. They said, you know, it's two different midwives measuring you. You always end up with differences anyway, so don't worry. So I was like, okay, well, I won't worry. So they referred me for a growth scan, but because they couldn't fit me in for a growth scan, I think it's some hospitals it's 48 hours and others it's 72. Because they couldn't fit me in within 72 hours, they then want to put you in for something called a CTG, which I will double check because I always get this wrong. It's a cardio tachography. It's a medical assessment which records the fetal heartbeat and uterine contractions during pregnancy. Now, I think I was attached to this machine when I was induced last time, and it's basically a big belt that wraps around your bump so that they can measure any contractions or and the baby's heartbeat so that they can monitor the baby. And I was like, how have I managed to, because I couldn't get a growth scan, they wanted me to go for this. And it was like the same afternoon, within like an hour. And I was like, how can I have gone from being completely fine and not worried to then needing monitoring for babies' like distress and a heartbeat? So I was then start to wind myself up and get a bit stressed. I called my dad over to look after my little girl so that I could go to hospital just in case I was held up. And she was having a nap, which was like a complete rarity. So I was like, could you please come over? And so he drove over took him half an hour, 40 minutes to come over. I raced to the hospital, couldn't get parked, just to get there and find like this quite snotty senior midwife on the ward. They're not all like this, but she was particularly intimidating. And she was like, no, I've had a cancellation for tomorrow morning, and because we can fit you in, just come back then. And I was like, I could understand medically why they wouldn't need to do it, and obviously I was happy to not be hooked up to the machine, but I'd obviously worked myself up, like stressed myself out about this whole procedure at this point, and called in childcare help. And I was just like, oh, it's so rude, like you could have just rang me or whatever. Like now I was at the point now where I like wanted the baby to be checked because I wanted to make sure that everything was okay, because I didn't understand why all of a sudden it had become this issue when initially I was just thinking, oh, it's just a measurement problem, like they've measured wrong. So anyway, I went back the next day, and my partner was home at that point, so he came with me, and we had the growth scan, which was just a really nice, it was a blessing really. I love having extra scans, and although I did find out that she was breech, it was funny because they put the ultrasound thing on, and because she's head at the top, they put it at the top of my bump, and it was just a little face just looking straight out. And this sounds really silly because it's obvious, but she looks like an actual baby. Like I could see chub, Yeah, just I could see her eyes were closed. Like normally you can't see that much detail on a black and white scan, but obviously it'll have been 34.5 weeks, I think. They are at a stage where they're just so much more baby-like, and that was really reassuring. So yeah, that's why I wanted to tell you guys that. But it's just reassuring. I think it's nice to know that at this stage, your baby actually looks like a baby, and they have like all the cute little features and things. Like, I don't know, I think everyone at this stage is so happy to be out of the dangerous sort of associated dangers of the first trimester. Second trimester is a bit of like in between lull, and then third one you're like wondering when you're going to go into labour. You're like, am I going to go over? Am I going to have a premature baby? How straightforward is it going to be? Yeah, so that will kind of put my mind at rest. And of course they check everything with the baby at that stage and you. So placenta was up and out of the way, blood pressure and everything was fine, no signs of preeclampsia. Baby seemed perfectly happy. They did all of her measurements to make sure obviously that she wasn't small, and they just said, you obviously just had good abdominal muscles beforehand, you're tall, you've got a long torso, like don't worry about it. Fluids all fine. And then they were able to actually give me her estimated weight, like, well, it was pretty bang on actually for the time of her being measured. So she was 5 pounds 4, and that was like 4 days ago. So I think that's quite a good weight really. On the pregnancy apps this time, it tells you that the baby's as much as 5 pounds. So it's good to know that she's slightly over, I guess. And then they were able to plot it on my growth scan chart. And obviously it's a lot more thorough and reliable. And she's on the same centile line as my previous baby. So she's heading to be the same weight, which was about 7 pounds 4 ounces. So I was really happy with that. So if you do get referred to the hospital for a growth scan, don't panic. It's nice to have that extra scan, and the midwife was really reassuring. She said she does between 30 and 50 scans a day of growth scans to check the baby size, and she was like, it's very rare that there's ever a problem with the baby. People just carry all different shapes and sizes, higher, lower, so yeah. So I hope I didn't just waffle on too much. I hope that is useful for some people. And even if you're not in that situation, then it's just a bit of information that if it does happen to you, then at least you're a bit more geared up, because I had no idea about any of this. I didn't have any problems at all throughout any pregnancy through my pregnancy with my previous one. And I always measured consistently and things, so it's good to know. So a few products that I've been absolutely loving this week are really random ones. Granny products. So I bought Boots Recovery Oil 8-in-1 Expert Nail Care. Comes in a little tube like this. After doing a bit of digging around, I've never used anything like this before, so I loved it. And after doing a bit of digging around online, apparently the Sally Hansen vitamin E and Sally Hansen vitamin E and cuticle oil, I think it's called, is actually seems to have better reviews. It's more expensive, but I think you get more in the bottle. This one comes with like a little roller ball, and the idea is that you literally roll it around. I wouldn't say that that's the easiest way to apply things, but also it does control the amount that comes out. So 6 and 2 3 is whatever you fancy. I put this on night and morning. I've just been suffering from seriously dry nails, and I'm trying to keep them in good condition. Like normally when you're pregnant and taking pregnant care or whatever, like prenatal vitamins, they stay really healthy. Like my nails feel strong, but my cuticles are really dry. So I've been loving that. My lips have been completely dried out as well. So I've been using Bathhouse Gin and Tonic Lip Balm with sweet almond oil and coconut oil. Just the ones in the little tubs. You see these everywhere now. I've got a few different ones of this. This is my favourite, not just because it smells like gin and tonic, but because it's got the almond oil and coconut oil and it's really hydrating. It does sink in, and I do apply this to my hands as well, because coconut oil and almond oil are like the ideal combo. And then the other thing, again, is kind of hand-foot related. I've been giving myself foot massages. Now, this is definitely hardest to do when you're pregnant because you can barely reach, but it's so worth it. Like if you've got swollen feet, then maybe try like a peppermint one, Champneys Boots sell a really nice peppermint foot one. This is L'Occitane 15% shea button, dry skin, foot cream, and it smells like lavender. It just comes in a really handy little tube like this. So moving on to baby things to buy, I just picked up a few little bits at Next and I thought I'd just share them with you because they're super cute. So I picked up a pack of baby sleep suits in size 0 to 3 months. It's just a pack of 4. I realise I don't actually have that much stuff. So it's this one. I've showed you the bodysuits that I bought that was in this print as well. And they still have these. They're really lovely quality cotton. Super thick. So there's the bunny rabbit one, a pink spotty dotty one. It's like, it looks shimmery, but it's not at all. It's actually a flat pattern. And then it comes with a plain pink and a white and pink sort of stripe one. And the pink one has like a slight frill around the neckline. Nothing too fancy, just easy, soft, cute. And they're in the size 0 to 3 months. And then I picked up this little legging set. I'll link these all below so you have an idea of price and things, but they're all really reasonable. These are up to 3 months. These are a pack of 3. Again, in this like peachy, pinky kind of colour. It probably shows it more pink than anything on this camera, but it's peachy, pinky. One is this cute star print, like so. One's the plain pink, and then one is like a floral little pattern like that with the coral kind of colour running through it, and they all have little frilly bottoms, which is super cute. I think these are like, judging by the size of them, like the drop from the crotch, because I don't think they're harem leggings. I think they're like a 3/4 type legging, which works out quite well, like up to 3 months, so it'll see me through the sort of summer hotter months. And then I got a little outfit out of the same range just because I couldn't resist. And this came with the bodysuit, which has a little frilly arms on it, like that matches the leggings, so I can kind of use that to mix and match. And then this super cute little coral jumpsuit, I guess. So that's to go with that. Yeah, I just thought these were really sweet. Next, I've got some really nice colours in, and the materials are just really soft and just wash as well, and I find they're quite true to their size and things, so they're always quite reliable. So yeah, that was all that I bought this week. So now you've seen the bits that I have bought for baby bump. I will show you my bump at 35 weeks and then I shall sign off. Sorry about the lighting, it's like a bit all over the place. But so this is what bump looks like from the side. And I feel like, again, it has grown. Obviously I'm not massive, hence the growth scan, but I still feel like I've grown. It hasn't dropped. That's probably because she sat quite high still. My belly button still feels so hard, but that's obviously, I know now, because baby basically has her back here, her head here, a bum down here, and her legs up. So she's got her hands and feet all here, and her back is obviously what's pushing my belly button out. I managed to get a bit of a rash. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but I have yet another bump rash, and that was from the ultrasound gloop that they use to scan you with. I mean, who has a reaction to that? Who has a reaction to that jelly? I've no idea, but anyway. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you have enjoyed this vlog. If you did, then hit the subscribe button to my channel. I'm going to keep on going throughout this pregnancy and probably afterwards. Yeah, and if you want to be notified of my next videos, then hit the alert button. Not sure where that is anymore. And I shall see you guys next week. I hope you have a lovely week and enjoy the sunshine. Bye!